Simple questions for 100 people. Welcome to our experiment, the 100-Person Project. I'm Bill Carell, and this is my investigation. This is a research project to gather data from 100 beautiful human beings for the sole purpose just to see what actually happens across the interviews. Now, the questions are fixed, and all the interviews are going to remain consistent. The variable will be the actual participants themselves. It's as if I'm having you come sit on my porch, Cindy, to share your ideas so I can learn about people. So
Okay.
we're looking forward to what we're going to discover when we're complete. And we're very interested in you, the process, and your particular story. So, with that said, what is your full name?
I use Cynthia Herbert Brewski Adams nowadays because it's on my books. So it's my pen name. But Cindy Adams is what people have known me as most of the time.
Yes. And how do you spell Brewski?
Bruschi, like the football player from
Absolute.
Boston. He was a Brewski.
Yes, he was. So, what is your favorite nickname that most people don't know?
Um, I don't know if I have a favorite nickname that people don't know or most people don't know. My husband calls me Bear sometimes, and maybe because we used to cuddle. That's
Of
kind
course.
of sweet. That's kind of sweet. I like that.
Well, knowing you both as long as I have, I think that's a great pet name, no doubt about it.
Thanks.
So, when did you first notice what color hair you had?
Um, which time? My hair has changed colors many times. I was a towhead as a little kid. Then I had brown hair until I was a young woman. Then I was a blonde. And then in recent years, I've gone quite gray.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I call that platinum blonde. That's what all of the 1940s and early 50s hotties had,
Yeah. Well,
from Marilyn Monroe to Jane Mansfield and diamonds are a girl's best friend kind of thing,
well, they
right?
didn't have this, but Lady Gaga does. Lady Gaga does. So
Only a few people can sport it the way that you do. There's no doubt about that. So,
thanks.
all right. So, what's your favorite thing to do to intentionally waste time?
Word games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scrabble on friends, Word with Friends. I waste time playing that every day, I think, or the word challenge for the day on Wordle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get some enjoyment out of it? What's that experience like for you?
Well, when I play the games, I have a person I play against, and I only really enjoy it when I win, which isn't all the time for sure. In fact, there's one opponent whom I almost never beat.
Yeah.
But the Wordle is just to make sure I can get it. Just to get the word jumble within 6 tries and feel like my brain hasn't totally rotted overnight or something.
Well, it sounds like something associated with language would be the right thing for a writer to be spending their time wasting time.
I suppose so.
Yeah, very good. So, what is your favorite movie to watch alone?
Hmm. I don't see a lot of movies alone because I read. I'm trying to think what I would pick. Can we come back to that? Do
Sure,
I?
or you can ponder it for a moment and see what shows up?
Yeah. I
Your
mean,
choice.
I love all the Christmas movies, the corny ones, but I see those with family, not by myself.
Fair enough.
Um, I don't think I watch TV when I'm alone. I guess I'd have to say that.
There you go. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. So, if you were to have an action figure made of you, Cindy, what superpower would it have, and what colors would its uniform be?
Um, it would be a very good speller, which I definitely need, and it would be, I don't know, white and red. It would stand out, contrasts, and
Yeah,
be bright,
yeah, those are power colors, no doubt about it.
I think.
Yeah. So with a red cape and a white leotard kind of thing, or the other way around, or
Well, I was thinking of a white blouse and black trousers or something,
yeah,
something like that.
interesting. And so now you've got this spelling super talent, superpower,
Right.
and tell me how that's going to nudge the world.
Um, when I write my books, it will be they will flow better because I won't have to worry now which way is that spelled, and I can perhaps write something that matters at least as much as I think my last book matters, but nobody else has noticed that yet, so
Yeah,
I'm waiting to see. Yeah.
that's fun. That's fun. So if you use a lot of the AI spell checkers, they do things like put apostrophes in when there's an S at the end of it and it's supposed to be plural. That stuff drives me nuts. I don't know about how it is for you, but
Well, homonyms, words that sound like another word, I have
yep,
trouble with them.
there,
So
there,
the
there.
Yeah, or not there, there, and there, because I did manage that one early on, but like, Swiss chard and a shard of glass,
Right.
words that to my ear sound like they're the same, they're not,
Yeah.
and, I my head uses them interchangeably in the wrong places.
Yep. And you know what? That just makes you a creative human being, in my opinion. Okay. Who was it that said might have been, it takes a very dull person to spell things the same way all the time,
Well, heck, I like that person, whoever it
or
was.
uncreative person to spell things. You
How
know,
boring, right?
right, exactly. So I still have a little bit of the COVID thing going on in terms of how I
Oh,
get thoughts out of my head and out of my mouth, and sometimes it works really really well, and other times it's pretty entertaining for other people.
I see. Well, I'm sorry for you. That's a struggle.
That's Bill Carell. He's never had a problem speaking in front of people, but now when he talks, it's humorous.
It's a little reward then for you.
It gets better every day, and I'm looking forward to that. So, number 7, what did you wanna grow up to be when you were 5 years old, Cindy?
Probably when I was 5, I wanted to be a nurse. I think there was a nurse in the comic strips that my grandparents would read to me, and I liked what she did. But, most of my childhood, I wanted to be in psychology, and I ended up in that
Yeah,
for the majority of my career. I and then I wanted to be an author, so I've kind of followed what I wanted. I've
yeah.
been very lucky.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me you're also a doctor, aren't you?
I have a
PhD?
PhD, licensed psychologist, not an MD psychiatrist.
Right, right, exactly. And funny enough, if I remember correctly, I've known Roger for a long time, probably before I met you, but it seems to me when Lucy Crosby invited me to join the hospital board, that was one of my first recollections of being around you. Were
Could
you ever?
be.
Yeah, okay, let
I
me.
was a corporator for many, many years, and Roger was on the board, and we went to the socials together.
Right, you and I think we're corporators at the same time. That's not the main board as I recall.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah.
alright, great. So, what is your greatest accomplishment?
Um, Motherhood, I guess. I mean, Roger and I have a wonderful son who's got a wonderful family, and that makes me happiest and proudest, of all things. And thank goodness we have him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really plain to see. The family is a really, really big deal for you personally and also for your whole family. There are families that don't stay in touch, and it seems like you guys are always taking pictures with your grandchild.
Well, we have 2 grandsons, and they live close by, so it's, we're very, very fortunate. If we had to travel across the country every time we wanted to see them and rely on Zoom, it would lose something. I mean, I know there's many families that have to do that, and, I just feel so lucky.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. You are lucky. Mine are 2,000 miles away.
Oh,
So,
boy, that's
yeah,
tough, yeah,
good on you. So,
yeah.
now who is your favorite person to listen to?
Are you talking about music
Ac
or
Actually,
just as a
anytime.
talker?
This is your question. Do you do anything you want with?
Oh, I'm gonna give you 2 answers then maybe.
Works for
Uh,
me.
Margaret Atwood
Yep.
I have enjoyed thoroughly. Her books, The Handmaid's Tale, that's the big sensation. Then there was recently on Netflix a special on her life. It
Yeah.
was a very interesting biography, and she, demonstrated what a great character she is. Um, and so I really admire her. Ruth Bader Ginsburg would be the other person that no longer can I listen to, but when she would quote the law and quote her stance on defending women's rights, I would just be filled with awe and applause.
Yeah, there was a quality about RBG that she had this knack for stating both positions before telling you what her opinion was, or leaving it up in the air what her opinion was and let you decide for yourself what her opinion was. The the whole relationship with Antonin Scalia, with two people couldn't be more different politically and better friends, and I think that's iconic for all the rest of us to live into.
Well, she did make conclusions that left no doubt that she thought that a what a woman's rights were.
Yeah.
And I think it was too bad that she um, was so old and in poor health by the time she got into a power position. But that's at least we had her, and she was doing behind the scenes things and making laws work since the 70s. So that's really great.
Yeah. Yeah, and like yourself, most everything that I have seen, I never saw her live speak in front of a crowd or anything like that, but lots of recorded panels and YouTube and that sort of thing. There's no way that her speech or her logic or her intellect would ever betray her age. She
That's
didn't
for
sound like a
sure.
woman. No, she just sounded like somebody who was at the top of her game all the time.
A brilliant mind in a body that was in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So complete this sentence. When I grow up, Bill, I'd like to.
I thought I was grown up, Bill. um, I, Roger and I would like to travel more if we, you know, with COVID in the air, we limited that a bit, but I think I'd like to travel more. That's
Yeah.
about it. I've done everything
Any
I wanted to do, really.
yeah, yeah. I get that. Do you have any destinations in mind? Do you have a bucket list for different places you'd like to go?
We've done some pretty good ones, but if I knew the water was safe, I'd love to go to Egypt. I've always been fascinated by archaeology and the ruins and Tutankhamun and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. Um, I'd like to go on a dig with a real archaeologist that's digging up things from ancient times. That would be fun too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had a nice chat with a man from China who lived in Africa, different parts of South Africa and Southwest Africa, uh, who was a game preserve warden for a
Hmm.
lot of the years. And he spoke a little bit about what it was like to be around all of the the tribal people and the animals that would just come strolling into camp in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
strikes me that a place like that would probably have some very, very interesting archaeological digs.
Well, of course, Egypt is in Africa, so there are many places where the culture has evolved over centuries, and the animal fossils would be interesting in other places.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it would be fascinating.
it's kind of cool, when you think back where they built cities on top of cities on top of cities on
Right. Which
very,
is
very,
what we see every time we go to Rome. Wherever they're putting in a road, they're finding ancient stuff, and they have
yeah.
to slow down and preserve some of it. And I guess for many of the engineers, it's annoying, but to me, it's magic. You just dig down and there's ancient coins.
Yeah, yeah. What are we going to discover today?
Right, right, right.
Funny thing happened to me on my way to the forum. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So, what is the most important thing in life to you right now?
Well, the health of my family always, health is a very important thing. In terms of ambition, to get this latest book I wrote to sell, to
Yes.
get, to do the public relations well enough for enough people to read it, and I think it's a very important book. It's very anti-war. It's about the end of World War II primarily, and what happened to some people at the hands of communists. And it's a true story, and it's repeating itself in the history of the day with how Ukraine is being treated. So, I'm very determined about that. So, in terms of ambition.
Yeah, for the edification of our listeners, are you speaking about the red toque, or is there another one
Yes.
you writ yeah,
No,
okay.
The Red Tooth, Love and Loss in the Time of Tito is the book I'm talking about. Yeah,
Love and Loss in the Time of Tito. I like that.
right. Thank you.
And where can people get this book?
Amazon. It's
Okay.
on Amazon. I can hold up the cover, I think. Is
Why
that
don't
allowed?
you do
It
that?
I
So
can?
that
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. That's a gift to people because
Let's see. Do you
I
see
have
it?
not nope,
Can you
you gotta
see
come
it?
up in front of your face. Yep,
Okay.
a little bit to your left, I wanna say. There we go. A little bit more left. Now you're talking now a little down. Oh, yeah, love and
Loss in the Time of Tito. So it's the
oh,
red toque or toque, Love and Loss in the Time of Tito. Locally, it's for sale at the Hoot.
oh,
Uh,
really?
in f in fact, I'm doing a book signing there Tuesday,
Right.
the 6th of December. Uh, but Amazon, all you have to do is go to Amazon.com books and look for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's important, and you are a real contributor. I think anybody that takes the time to write the book the way that you have, and then you've gone about it in terms of promoting it and being selfless and showing up for signings, and you've actually done some readings too, haven't you?
Oh, yes, but that isn't selfless. It's
Yeah.
selfish because I wanna sell the books, and I enjoy the feedback from the audience. Veterans have been especially interested in the book because it tells a story that perhaps if they're very old or their fathers went through, and they relate to it, and, um, a piece of the proceeds from each paperback sold on Amazon go to, Wounded Warriors Project.
Sure.
And veterans really enjoy hearing that I'm contributing to those who've been through the war.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, I'm happy to do that because the main character in the book is based on Roger's uncle, who was a Slovenian, like Roger's mother and all her siblings,
Yeah.
and he had a very hard time in the war, let's put it that way, and it
Yeah.
would be, very important for veterans to know about him and feel that I cared, when I
So
was writing about it.
that's a great holiday tip, ladies and gentlemen. You get got a loved one who's a veteran or in the service now, and you care about them, and you want to do something a little special. This is the book to buy for them.
Well, thank you. A lot of Eastern European people have also been fascinated by it. The Hungarian Club in Ashford had
Yep.
100 people at a dinner that I spoke at, and that was very well received there too. So
Yeah.
people from that part of the world don't often get recognition, but
Yeah.
that's why I wrote it.
Excellent. Thank you for that. It was nice hearing you share about it, and I think it's an important thing, a contribution to all of us. And thanks again.
Well, I
So
appreciate you
now,
letting me. Yes.
no, I would have it no other way. Okay. So, number 12, what would you like to leave in the world after your life is done?
Um, the wreck is for the oldest person living. No, um,
Who could still bench press their own weight, right?
you're right. If I ever could,
Yeah.
know that my family is happy. Know that my family is happy, and I treated a lot of patients over the years, and to feel that they gain strength from that, that they're doing well, that I'm well remembered, I guess. That would be nice to think I was well remembered by those who were part of my life.
Yes, the central thread for you is family. There's no question about it, and I appreciate that. It is for me too, but this is your half hour.
Well,
So the baker's question, we are there already.
Aha.
And you know how the reason it's a baker's question is because if you go to a good bakery and you buy a dozen rolls, what do they give you?
One extra.
One extra roll if they're worth their salt, right?
Right.
So, what is the thing that most people misunderstand about you?
Hmm. I mean, when you work alone a lot, there's not a lot of room for misunderstanding. I'm thinking back to when I worked at the university, when I had a lot of colleagues for many, many years. uh, I had a sense of humor that might not always go over the way I think it would. So I'd make a remark. Have you been there, Bill? I'd make a remark that I thought was funny or poking fun where I thought it could be well taken, and find out later that somebody didn't like it. And I would feel terrible. So I've gotten less humorous as I've aged in order to make sure I don't do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing. Although I'm not perfect.
I am at that point in my life where sometimes it comes out differently than I thought it was leaving my mouth, so
Yes, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. And you know what? I think I can't speak for how other people view you, but I do know that almost all of us have some sort of a thing that we know about ourselves to be true and other people don't get it.
Well, yes.
If I were going to share any of my experiences, I would have to do it after the recording is done because I'm just not that kind of guy.
Oh, yeah?
Anyway, so thank you. You've been absolutely marvelous. Do you have any questions of me?
Uh, where will these go? Can I have a copy? And that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, you're probably going to be published sometimes toward the end of December. We put
Okay.
one a week out, and I'm going to see if I can get my producer to bunch them up for a little while, especially because you have some timely stuff that's going on with yours.
Oh, that's
They're
right.
available on almost all podcast platforms. Believe it or not, we're on Spotify, Apple, Audible. Just keep Amazon. Just keep naming 16 or 17 different platforms.
YouTube? YouTube?
We're not on YouTube yet. We're getting our own channel. The audio versions are on all of those platforms that I mentioned because they are audio platforms. But we're getting
Okay.
our own YouTube channel, which is why we're also recording the video on this.
Oh,
Sooner
that's
or later,
great.
there.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd be before Christmas simply because of the book, but hey, I didn't even know you were gonna do this, so it's just a gift.
Well, you are a true friend for just blindly saying and accepting, yes, Bill, I will do whatever you want me to do. Thank you very much. And with that said, any other thoughts or anything you want to leave folks with to think about? Or,
No, but I think that you've always been a man who was involved in the community and like to give to the community. And when you invited me to do this, I didn't think it was going to be frivolous, and I didn't think it would be inappropriate in any way. I thought, why not say yes? Because I know you're a good guy.
well, isn't that sweet? I appreciate that. And I think with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have, I think, number 19 in our 100 people, beautiful, fabulous people. And we are definitely asking simple questions of 100 people. As I said, you can find us on many platforms. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you soon. Thank you
Thank
again,
you.
Cindy.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Simple Questions for 100 People, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can find every episode at exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.